Okay, it's time to tackle this big gal. Welcome back to Billy's Hobbies, and today we are painting Intranzia Fraye on the Throne of Blame. I'm not even going to try to say that name again. For this project, I did take a few creative liberties here. I swiped out the lower base for a crushed Chaos Space Marine, and I decided not to use the Cherub. Personally, I felt like it made the model way too busy. So, let's talk battle plan. I'm not going to follow GW Studios' paint scheme this time around. Instead, I want to try to match my armature. My goal is to use the Imperial Knight pattern onto the Throne of Blame. One thing I did notice is the Throne of Blame does look like a mortifier mixed with a armature, hence why I'm doing this color pattern. But let's take a closer look. I'm going to point out some of the detail I want to focus on the most when transferring over to the other model. I'm going to keep that silver trim. I'm going to try to match the color of the legs and the arms back onto the throne. I may have to do some brass parts on the legs of the throne just because of the way some of the decorations on the legs are. But other than that, I think this is going to be an easy job. And let's start this job with a warp lock bronze. And if you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember to hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. And right now, I am dry brushing the warp lock bronze onto legs to try and match the weathered look I have on my armature. And we're going to dry brush the rest of the metallic colors onto here to give it that weathered look. Alright, while I'm finishing up the metallic color, let's talk about why you should be running this model in your army. She is a character unit, but she can't lead any units in your army at the moment. They may update it later. But, however, there's nothing really special about her melee or ranged weapons, but we're going to go over to the abilities and look at this Judge for Execution. At the end of your movement phase, select up to one model within 18 inches until the start of the next command phase. Each time a friendly Adeptus Sororitas model makes an attack that targets that enemy, those attacks will have the lethal hit ability attached to them. So essentially, you have this thing point at a enemy unit, and you get the rest of your army to destroy that unit. Now, I do want to talk about this ability real quick, Righteous Denunciation. At the start of your fight phase, each enemy unit within 6 inches of this model must take a battle shock test. Subtract 1 from that test. So pretty much, if you have this unit try to take over a point or a objective marker, this unit will have a slight advantage on getting those objectives and trying to destroy those enemy units. And then you'll use the Judge for Execution ability to get your other units to help clear the objective point. It may be dangerous to go solo, but this thing is going to be a threat on the battlefield. let's move on to the flame effects. If you're new to the channel, I actually made a small mistake here. I forgot to put down a layer of white base to brighten up the color, but starting with yellow will still work. But white would have made the flames pop a little bit more. For this effect, I'm using Tester's Glossy Yellow. I like using gloss paints for my energy and flame effects because they'll naturally stand out against the matte colors on the model. Now, let's spend some time painting the pilot. Alright, let's take a quick look at them together. Just a little fix. And nice. Now it's time to work on the base. I'm dry brushing a layer of dark gray first, and then I'm going to follow it up with a lighter gray to bring out some of the details in the terrain. Next, I'm breaking out the gloss orange again to paint the explosion effect. After that, I'm going back over with the dry brush of gray, just to blend things together. Now it's time to paint our unfortunate Chaos Havoc. You might be wondering how I got some sprues for a random Chaos Havoc. I actually did a commission for a friend not too long ago to put together his Havoc launchers, and I got the extra sprues, just for this occasion. I'm starting with a dark gun metallic for the armor, and then I'm picking out the trim with the brass. Okay, let's put the finishing touches to this model. First, I'm applying Muso Black inside the gun barrel, and I'm using it for the other negative spaces around the model. I'm also going to be using it on the smoke for fire, and this will add more contrast and definition. Now it's time for the wash. One of my friends recommended me start using this stuff called R-Code, so I'm giving it a try today. So what this is essentially varnish. This is essentially top coat you put at the end after you're done. Personally, I usually put a matte top coat to give it that kind of flat, realistic look, but there are some parts I want glossier than others. So I'm putting some of this on in the hope that it shines through the matte coat. result. Yeah, I think she turned out great. Now, let's do a quick side-by-side comparison to my armature. I think I matched the color scheme pretty well. Looking back, I probably should have painted the gun arms half red like I did with the armature's shoulder, but I'm still really happy how close I matched the leg angle armor to the armatures. Also, I got a bone pick with you, GW. What's with the flag under this throne? Why didn't it come with a decal like this? Why? It's like, I can't paint that detail yet, but I feel like it still should have been decal. But other than that, overall, I think this is a great add to my mechanized unit, and I can't wait to see it on the battlefield. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video.